a link. I'd show you, but it still grosses me out, especially after the maggot. I used to volunteer at the SES up in Queensland. I remember helping with the evacuations at Cyclone Jasper and cleaning up after the floods that followed them. Well, when I was up there, it's not always floods and storms and cyclones. Occasionally we get a more mundane call, usually from 000. Sometimes those are the worst ones though. One night we got a call about a wreck. Some boys who didn't know any better had taken their 4-wheel drive into one of the swamps and gotten wrapped around a tree. I'm pretty sure one of them died. I didn't really want to look. Whenever the fire started cutting off the roof or the door, I know I don't want to look. I was on croc watch. You'd think that wouldn't be a thing, but it is. The SES fills all sorts of gaps in an emergency situation. For example, my mate Leanne was on traffic management. I got croc watch. It wasn't all that exciting. The wreck wasn't that close to get to the swamp, and I'm pretty sure the noise from all the cutting would keep the crocodiles away from us. But I was on croc watch nonetheless. Some noises, you just want to tune out of your mind. That cutting, one of the boys was screaming too until one of the ambos added something to the pain. I didn't want to think about all that, so I just looked out at the swamp, shone my torch out. The water shimmered under the torchlight and under the flashing red and blue of the sirens as well. That was the first strange thing. When I finally saw a shape in the water, it was only when the sirens flashed red, and then when I shone my torch where I'd seen it, there was nothing there. And then there'd be nothing for a while, and then I'd see it again, lit up in red, just for a second, right at the edge of my torchlight. It was a person, waist deep in the swamp, arms outstretched as if they needed help. But every time I shone my torch at where I'd seen it, there was nothing there. No one was missing from the wreck, so this had to be a complete stranger, but that was impossible. So I just kept an eye out. Every now and then, the figure would appear and then be gone again. And each time, I swear, it was a little closer. By now, the fires had finished cutting through the car, so all I could hear were crickets and the sounds of the paramedics talking to the boys as they carried them to the ambulance. I thought it would be better to make sure, so I talked to one of the fires and asked if everyone accounted for, and they said they were. I told her I was seeing someone out in the swamp. So she came up beside me. We both had a good long look. We both shone our torches out of the swamp. We both watched for a long time. It was only after I realized what I'd done wrong. That figure, it couldn't be seen in the light. And neither of us were shining our torches down at our feet. So he grabbed me and tried to pull me down, but there was no down. I fell to the ground and screamed, and the woman next to me scrambled to see what was going on. Her first instinct was that it was a croc, but it wasn't a croc. That man, half sunk in the swamp, he'd grabbed me. I'd felt his freezing cold fingers. She called for an ambo, and they came over to me, and they found the leak in my pants, slicked with swamp water, and glued to my thigh. It was bad. It burned, and bubbled, and festered. The fabric of my pants and my skin would fusing into each other, dissolving into each other, what happens with burn victims. But this was wet and slimy. The paramedic gave me something for the pain from the ambulance before it left. It was all full up with boys from the car crash, so they had to call another one for me. I would have fainted if it weren't for the fear. Fear that it would come back. I was down on the ground and I felt more exposed than ever. It could grab my leg again, or my arm, or my hair, or my neck. I was so freaked out. That man, I thought he was waist deep in the water, but now that I thought about it, I wasn't anywhere near the edge of the swamp. He was waist deep in the ground. But that had to be wrong. I remember screaming about the light. Keep the light on me! Keep it on me! Whenever the siren flashed red in that last fire truck, I thought it would try and grab me again, drag me down again. I just had to hope that I was right, that I was safe in the light. The Amber radioed for Leanne, and she came over to keep an eye on me while the fire is left. And for a long time, it was just Leanne and the Amber. Even though they kept their lights on me, I thought I was done for. But nothing happened. The painkillers were kicking in by now, so I thought everything might be okay. But my leg, you can see that things aren't all right. It smelled awful, and my pants were sinking into my skin. I didn't want to look at it. Finally, the ambulance arrived, and when I was inside, they told me I'd be going under and that I'd need surgery. So, under I went, and I woke up the next morning having undergone gangrene removal and reconstructive surgery. Gangrene is a funny thing. You see it on cigarette packets, dry lactose and stuff like that. That wasn't mine. Mine was what they call wet gangrene. Imagine an overused sponge, soft, sodden, black spots falling apart. That was this part of my thigh. I thought that would be the end, but a few weeks after I had healed up and I was back out in the world, I saw him again. I'd see him from the corner of my eye at a red light, or right at the edge of the glow of a neon sign. One night I was at a rooftop bar, 5 stories off the ground. He was still sunk into the floor. I made my excuses and got out of there. You have to understand, grass, sand, dirt, concrete, water, it didn't matter. Whenever I saw him, he'd always be waist deep. Half taken, half reaching for the sky. It was my own brake light that finally did it. I pulled into my driveway and was about to get out when I saw something in my rearview mirror. It was him. Straight away I locked the doors, turned the lights on inside the car. I could do nothing but stare at him. He didn't move. He couldn't move. I guess the red light revealed him, but it also stopped him like any other light. And I just stared at him. And that was the first and only time I got a good look at him. His face was blank. Not blank like empty, but blank like where there should have been eyes, there weren't. Where there should have been a nose, there wasn't. No teeth. The middle of his face looked like it was sunken into his skull. And he still wasn't even reaching for me. Arms up towards the sky as if he needed help. His drooping, dripping face almost made him look sad. And then a car drove past and its headlights overpowered my brake lights and he was gone. He was in the darkness somewhere now. Probably right outside my door, I remember thinking. Not knowing where he was, that was much worse than seeing him. I spent a long time in that car thinking about what to do. Obviously, I had to get out of here. let me tell you, this thing, this is a very precious thing. I turned the torch on and kept the lights in right at my feet. I turned the car off, the brake lights came off soon afterwards, and then I forced myself to turn off the lights inside the car. I kept this aimed right at my legs as I got out. As I felt something as I stepped out of the door. A chill, wetness in the air. I don't know what it was. When I made it into my house, turned on the lights, locked the doors, like that went on. There was nothing there. So that was it. I wasn't going out at night anymore. That night, I slept with the lights on. Every night after that, I slept with the lights on. Watched TV with the lights on, but I stopped seeing him. But it wasn't enough. The gangrene came back. I hadn't seen that shadow for months, and the gangrene had come back to me. I was in bed one night when my leg felt cold all of a sudden. Right where whatever had grabbed me the first time. And suddenly my bed sheets were sinking into my skin. I pulled them off to have a look. Dead, soft, decomposing flesh. In the shape of a hand. It must have been like that when I first had it operated on, but the doctors never said anything. So I had reconstructive surgery again and decided to move. I came down here. For a long time, I must say. For a long time. But I guess it followed me here. That man waded down from Queensland, from that swamp, for some reason, and he followed me here. One day I saw him from the corner of my eye again, by a red light. Waist deep in the ground, just like before. Arms outstretched, just like before. It was in a shadow or something by a neon light, a red light, I'm not sure. So I changed my routine all over again. Lights on when I'm sleeping, shining my phone down at my feet whenever I have to walk around the flat at night. But it wasn't enough. One morning I woke up and the gangrene had come back. The third time. This time, something was eating it. Just one thing. Just one little maggot. Not a whole swarm of them, just one. I had barely healed from the second time around. And I'm running out of places to get healthy bits of me from. The doctors have said that if the gangrene keeps coming back, the whole leg is going to have to come off. That would solve one problem. But I'm still being chased. I'm still being chased by the Sunken man.
And in first place, Mathew Andreazza. Absolutely magnificent performance. Just brilliant. Absolutely graphic, magnificent body horror, so well described. And
Well done,
just
Ben.
an excellent and original story. Your use of the performance, like your use of stillness and your pauses and the way you play the game with us right from the very,
That's awesome.
very beginning. And you just told that story so well. We had a sense of dread from the very first moment. The way you captured the audience was still listening on your every word, and you really just absolutely felt like you were telling us a story, like you were singing it out loud and truly you're breaking our heart. So congratulations on an absolutely
obviously thank you so much for being here for this story. It's a pleasure to tell it, as much as it was a ordeal to learn it. Thank you so much to my friends who are at the back. They drove me here, supported me throughout the night. Lovely dinner with them before. My parents were in the front. Obviously it's hard when you're the last performer because you don't have time to listen to everyone else. You're busy thinking, am I going to get this right? Is it okay? But obviously thank you so much to all the other performers. So much creativity here. It's fantastic to see. And of course, I have something to plug. My debut novel came out in August. I have a box right outside. If anyone would like to buy a copy, it's a psychological thriller, elements of horror. If you really like Down Host's story about obsession, desire, and how they can become very unhealthy and terrifying, you will enjoy my book. You're more than welcome to buy a copy after the show tonight. Thank you so much once again.